about it. You just sort of do it. And, but we also understand, you know, beauty and sort of the history of fashion and, you know, the playfulness of it.
You've been called some of the most powerful players in the fashion world. In 2004, I think Time magazine called you that. I know how you feel about those titles. What do you think makes someone powerful in the world of fashion?
I think those are just words, you know. I think you just have to really stay grounded. I think maybe that's powerful.
And stay true to yourself and kind of whatever, you know, you look at Diane von Furstenberg, she's been true to herself the whole time and she still has an incredible brand to this day. After Miuccia Prada, she still has a very powerful brand and an image, and I think they've always stayed true to themselves and their consumers as well.
You've certainly had a lot of time to learn about yourselves and being in the public eye the way you have. How crazy-making has that been for you when you're really trying to keep your noses to the grindstone and being creative and putting out, you know, great product? How hard is it with that distraction?
You know, I think, you know, when we grew up, I think it all kind of, that whole media, all that attention really started, I guess, when we were 15, 16.
It was much different then.
It was much different then, and I think learning early on that you really just couldn't pay attention to the noise, and that would really be the biggest distraction, paying attention to, you know, whatever else is getting written and, you know, all the noise. It's just it's the most distracting thing, and I think, you know, we don't pay attention to it. We don't read it. You know, we don't really.
Also, you know, another distraction. I bet, sort of like everyday life, it would just be you can be your biggest distraction, or you know, and if you're grounded and you sort of have people around you that you trust and you know, have a great collaborative experience with, it's a lot easier.
Yeah. You've certainly, speaking of collaborations, had some great collaborative experiences. To work with a brilliant design mind like Robert Lee Morris on some of this great jewelry that's part of the line now. How did that work? I mean, do you come in with your own ideas and then just start riffing?
Well, it sort of starts from the clothing, and that, you know, and then from the clothing, it trickles down into the rest of
the accessories,
yeah, the shoes,
jewelry, and the shoes. It's been great, and he really kind of also pushed us to get more hands-on physically with you know, actually just making the jewelry and teaching us how to put together certain things and the process. And it's just, you know, it's an experience that, you know, we would never have unless, you know, it was for Elizabeth and James. And
yeah, what an education. It's incredible. You've been muses to many designers, and, you know, I know that people, you know, are watching you all the time and certainly being inspired in many different ways. Who inspires you? I mean, who are your muses?
I think we look to people like Miuccia Prada and Diane von Furstenberg.
And probably more about the way that they go about their lines and running their businesses.
And how they always, you know, stay innovative, but also at the same time, you know, true to themselves and, you know, true to their customers.
Chanel, saw you at the Chanel show, and I know Carl obviously has a soft spot for you guys. What do you think of him, and what have you gleaned from him?
He's just such an icon. I mean, he's a genius. He's also an artist, and I don't really know what to say about him except he's done a very great job. You know, yeah, I mean, he's sort of the king, and you know, I don't know really what to say. When we interviewed him for the book, I didn't know what to say either. Then, you know,
I've seen you so often at fashion shows, and you know you can't get near for the craziness, and I just always wonder what goes through your mind when you're sitting there in the front row, and you know the paparazzi are going nuts, and yet you know you've just sort of got to keep grounded, as you say. What goes through your mind? Because obviously, I don't
I
think it looks
turn
enjoyable.
white, and my palms start sweating, my legs start shaking.
I think you just sort of black out for 10 minutes and then it's over.
There's nothing about it that's normal or natural or anything that's, for me, very fun about that whole experience. I think, you know, what's really fun is the 2 minutes of the show, and you know, and that's why, you know, we don't go to very many based on the other side, but, you know, we'll show up for something that we know is going to be an incredible show.
The balance between your clothing lines, because it's not just, you know, Elizabeth and James, and of course you've got the Row, which is, you know, very up there and been incredibly well received as well. How do you balance the other, you know, artistic projects that that you have on the back boiler?
Yeah, we have a crazy schedule. I mean, we really do. It's right now with, you know, just Elizabeth and James in the Row. You know, we're definitely overwhelmed as it is, so we're kind of just trying to get a handle on these two businesses and trying to make them as steady as possible until we really take on something else.
But you have really proved that you can sort of do it all. Maybe not all simultaneously, but it's not like you've got to really totally retreat from one thing, you know.
No, I mean, I think that's been a really great thing that Ashley and I have been able to balance. But it's hard work. I mean, it's every day, it's all day. I mean, it's a job, you know, and, you know, we're just lucky that our hard work is paying off.
Well, someone once said the hardest thing about being a success is remaining a success, you know, and I obviously think that you must be driven to a certain degree to just keep almost reinventing yourselves.
And I think, you know, we both really enjoy building brands. I mean, from a very young age, you know, with the Mary-Kate and Ashley brand and everything that was kind of incorporated into that brand, to the Elizabeth and James brand, and also with the Row, I think we really enjoy
and understand the process.
And really try to look for a certain void in the marketplace and then kind of tackle it from, you know, an interesting new perspective.
And how symbiotic is this relationship of yours creatively? I mean, you really are feeding off one another, I would imagine.